because we all knew what the words were. Fact of the matter was, we didn't. We thought we knew. I thought it was baked beans. Wake up in the morning, baked beans for breakfast. Which it isn't.
I mentioned just before we came to that piece of music that your work brought you into contact with some famous people, and there are two that particularly stand out for you.
Well, thank you. I just love to name drop here. The wonderful, wonderful Sir Henry Cooper and Cary Grant, the actor, who was also a very, very shrewd businessman. And this was all in the marketing world because I did a lot of work with Fabergé, who created Brut 33, Splash It All Over with, of course.
There was an advert.
And Kevin Keegan, yes, footballer, and Henry Cooper. And Henry Cooper got very associated with the brand, promoting the brand. And so if I was doing a big promotion where we're using, what we would do, they obviously had their retail range of that distinctive green bottle. But if we needed something for a special promotion, Fabergé would make us up something. We're talking about big quantities here. They perhaps want a little miniature gift set or something like that. But also as part of it, if it was a big promotion, I could get Henry Cooper to come along and spend some time with the client at a client event. The loveliest, loveliest man. I cannot praise that man too highly. If the contract said he'll be there for an hour, he'd be there for 3. If there was somebody who was at the back of the crowd of people, or somebody in a wheelchair, he would go and seek them out. He would bring them to the fore. He'd talk to them. He never, ever, ever took anything for nothing. We were at a big trade exhibition and I was taking him round and he saw a dinner set. It was a Wedgwood dinner set. And he said, "Oh, I'm sure my wife would love that." And you could see that the people were expecting to have to provide one. And he got his checkbook out and he said, "How much is it?" And he said, "I'll give you the check now," he said, "and you can send it home for me." Never expected something for nothing. A lovely, genuine, hard-working man. Very funny, very good company, very down to earth, just lovely. And of course, Cary Grant was a director of Fabergé, very shrewd businessman, quite apart from his film career. And he was one of the directors in the States. And I did actually only meet him once. I can't overplay my hand, I did meet Henry Cooper a few times, but Cary Grant just the once. We had a posh lunch in London, and that was just a bit special. But I just wondered whether you'd like to ask me who my next door neighbour was.
Well, do you know, Judith, I was really curious actually to know who your next door neighbour was.
Well, funny you should ask me that, Christy, because at one point I lived next door to Bill Kenwright. Bill Kenwright, who owns the whole of the West End almost, so bits that Cameron Mackintosh hasn't got. And it was when I was in my teens, we moved out of my grandma's house. Everything was changing. My lovely uncle found himself a lovely wife, so he got married and went off to start his own family. Grandma went to look after her widowed sister, and my parents and I moved to another house. And next door were the Kenwright family, and there was Bill Kenwright and his brother and their parents, and Mr. and Mrs. Kenwright, and Bill Kenwright and his brother wanted to be the Beatles. But they just weren't quite, a bit short on the actual, Beatle
Talent.
Magic. Well, you could just say, didn't quite have the magic. But they used to make an awful lot of noise in the garage and with a couple of their other friends. But they just never quite broke through into the music business. But I do remember those days with great affection. And they were a very nice family. And I just think about those days now when he's taking, and I love to listen to him on the radio, and I wonder if he remembers those days in Green Hill Road. He won't remember me, of course, but then again, I'm not quite as famous as Bill Kenwright.
To lots of people you are, Jude. But we're going to pause now again for your 5th piece of music. What have you chosen now?
Well, I've chosen Frank and Nancy Sinatra and Something Stupid. It's a kind of a two-sided coin, this, really. I think it's just a perfect song. I think their voices are perfect together. I think it's just beautifully constructed, just as a song. It also kind of signifies the time, because you did ask for music that defines things. It does actually mark the time when I realised that everything at home was not quite as I thought it was, and my parents were wonderful, wonderful people, but not for each other, not in a million years ever for each other. And I realise now that they both realised that they weren't right for each other right from when they first got married. But they held it together for all the family reasons that I'm sure you would understand. And it was around about this time, I remember hearing this and a few other songs, and for me it defines that moment when I realised that we were probably moving into another era and things were never going to be the same again.